Picture this. You're rummaging through a weathered leather coin pouch tucked away in the back of your desk drawer, and among the dull, familiar tones of everyday change, a single dime's surface catches just the right angle of light to reveal something unexpected. It's a standard Roosevelt design, but the shine is almost uncanny. The fields are so mirror-like they could double as a compact reflector. That little flash of brilliance is exactly what prompts experienced collectors to pause, probe, and ponder. Could this be one of those hidden gems hiding in plain sight? Today, our first stop is the 1990 USA 1 dime, a coin that at first glance seems ordinary but can harbor surprises worth far more than 10 cents. In 1990, the U.S. Mint was deep into its fourth decade of striking the Roosevelt dime, a design unchanged since its introduction to honor our 32nd president. That year, two facilities carried the workload: Philadelphia, which produced the no mint mark variety, and Denver, emblazoned with a crisp D just to the right of the torch. Although production quantities were high, hundreds of millions of pieces in both locations, the Mint's mechanical presses and quality control protocols weren't infallible. Minute fluctuations in die pressure, planchet feed alignment, or metal composition occasionally produced specimens with characteristics that later generations of collectors would prize above all else. One of the first details to scrutinize is what collectors call the full head designation on Roosevelt's portrait. The hair above the ear, the subtle curve of the jawline, and the delicate creases on the neck should all appear in razor-sharp relief. Achieving that level of detail requires perfectly hardened dies striking freshly polished planchets under optimum pressure. In circulation, most dimes suffer microscopic wear almost immediately, dulling those fine lines into a blur. So when a circulated piece still exhibits full head detail, it's a sign that the coin skipped much of the usual friction. Maybe it spent decades in a protective album or a jar of change that never saw a pocket. Securing an MS67 full head from a reputable grader like PCGS or NGC can fetch between $60 and $80, a hefty premium compared to the dime's nominal value. Errors and varieties add another layer of intrigue. Some 1990 dimes present off-center strikes, where the planchet didn't feed perfectly under the die, leaving a portion of the design missing and the blank edges uneven. These off-center examples vary widely in value. Slight misalignments under 2 mm might only bring $10 or $15, whereas dramatic strikes missing a third of the design on one side can command $200 to $300. Then there are clipped planchets, crescent-shaped blanks resulting from planchets cutting too close to the edge of the metal strip. While some collectors avoid clipped examples as damaged, true specialists recognize that these are mint errors, not post-mint accidents. A well-formed clip on a 1990 dime can range from $50 for small clips to over $100 if the clipping is large and well-centered. Perhaps the crown jewel among errors is the double die variety, where the obverse or reverse die imprints the design twice in slightly offset positions. True double die obverse, DDO, examples from 1990 are incredibly scarce, and spotting one requires a loupe or a sharp eye. Letters in the date or the Liberty motto may appear ghosted or shadowed. Collectors crawl all over auction listings on specialized forums to find these. When one does surface, certified at DDO1 or DDO2 by CAC, values skyrocket into the high hundreds or even the low thousands, depending on strike clarity and collector demand. Market data over the last few years underscores the volatility and potential upside. In January 2024, a pristine MS68D mint specimen with full head designation hammered for $320 at a major U.S. auction, reflecting not just rarity, but the escalating chase for top-tier circulation strikes. Across the pond in London that same spring, a 1990s proof dime, graded PR70 Deep Cameo, attracted bids up to £250, demonstrating that seasoned numismatists worldwide appreciate the artistry of cameo contrast, where frosted devices pop against deeply mirrored backgrounds. Even lower-grade examples, if they exhibit proof-like fields, PL66, can climb into the $50 to $80 range, a testament to the universal appeal of that mirror-finish flash. Stories from the trenches of the hobby only add to the allure. One collector in Kansas reportedly picked up a roll of Denver dimes for face value in 2019, unaware that three proof-like specimens lurked within. After authentication, he sold them collectively for over $1,200, a windfall that fueled his quest for large cents and Morgan silver dollars. In Florida, a retiree discovered what looked like a standard 1990 Philadelphia dime in a grocery store machine. Upon closer inspection, the coin displayed a rare double-die reverse, and within days, she turned that 10-cent find into $540 on a specialist auction site. These laundry change legends fuel the hope and excitement that every seasoned collector shares. The next treasure might literally be hiding in the palm of your hand. Condition remains the ultimate arbiter of value. A clearly circulated dime, graded VF30, very fine, typically trades for mere dollars above face. As coins ascend through the grading scale, values rise steeply. An AU58, about uncirculated, with faint contact marks can fetch $8 to $12, while an MS64, mint state, with light bag marks and decent luster might command $20 to $30. Crossing into MS66 territory, where lightning scars of friction are nearly invisible and luster projects boldly, investors see returns upward of $120 if the eye appeal is remarkable. Beyond MS67, supply dwindles dramatically, and each additional grade point can add hundreds to the price tag. Right now, certified populations show fewer than 50 total MS68 dimes from 1990D across both grading houses, a statistic that collectors monitor like stock traders tracking shares. Beyond condition and errors, tonal beauty can make or break a coin's desirability. Natural toning, those subtle blues, purples, and golds that dance across a dime's surface, develops over decades in specific environments. Stable storage, often in airtight packaging, can foster iridescence that shifts with the light. Collectors usually prefer even, attractive toning to harsh, spotty splotches, and premiums of 20 to 50% over untuned equivalents aren't uncommon. Beware artificially induced colorations. Coins swapped through heat chambers or chemicals often carry details, grades, a clear sign of tampering that can tank values. Rumors persist about mule test tokens from 1990, non-circulating planchets accidentally wrapped into circulation rolls. These tokens weigh slightly more due to a different alloy formula used in internal testing. While no authenticated silver or heavy planchet tokens have surfaced, the legend keeps speculators busy. Should one emerge, properly authenticated and verified, it would rewrite the dime hobby for a generation, much like the 1973 No-S Lincoln cent did for Lincoln pennies. As you hold that 1990 dime under a bright desk lamp or in the soft glow of an album spotlight, take in every shimmer, every line, and every anomaly. That fleeting glint of mirror finish, the whisper of a double-die shadow, or the gentle curve of a clipped planchet are reminders that rarity often masquerades as the mundane. And if you're patient and observant, you might just uncover a story more valuable than 10 cents. In our next segment, we'll shift gears to a coin that captured the energy of a changing nation, the 1974 USA 1 dime, and explore why its varieties and errors still captivate seasoned numismatists today. Shifting from the sleek mirror shine of the 1990 dime, let's dial back 2 decades to 1974, a year of cultural upheaval and coinage curiosity. The Roosevelt dime that year didn't herald a new design. It carried forward John Sinek's homage to the Great Depression-era president. But 1974 was far from a routine issue. With the U.S. economy still wrestling inflation and a coin shortage looming, the mint experimented with new planchet compositions, fresh striking techniques, and hasty production schedules that would leave their mark on collectors' radar for years to come. In early '74, both Philadelphia and Denver ramped up output to meet demand. The Philadelphia pieces bear no mint mark, while Denver specimens sport a small D to the right of the torch. Unlike today's mechanized precision, presses then were more prone to stress and misfeed, especially when churning out hundreds of millions of coins. Add to that a transition in planchet formulation, nickel-copper cladding over a pure copper core refined for cost and durability, and you have a recipe for oddities. The most coveted outcome? Double-die obverse, where the date or Liberty lettering appears shadowed or faintly echoed. These doubled images weren't recognized until the late '70s, when sharp-eyed hobbyists noticed ghostly duplications on roll-check dimes. Spotting a true 1974 double-die Roosevelt dime requires patience and a magnifier. Focus on the letters I and B in Liberty or the digits 7 and 4 in the date. Genuine doubling displays distinct separation, whereas weak strikes mimic doubling but lack crisp secondary impressions. Certified double-die obverse examples, graded by PCGS or NGC at DDO1 strength, often break the $300 threshold if preserved in high grade. Lower grade pieces, say VF30 to AU50, can still fetch $50 to $75, a healthy uplift over common dimes that trade for mere cents. Off-center strikes are another treasure trove for 74 collectors. Coins misaligned on the press yield one-sided designs with broad blank rims that make striking errors unmistakable. Mild off-centers, under 2 millimeters, sell in the $20 range, while dramatic strikes missing half the profile attract bids up to $500 or more when certified. Those dramatic misfeeds sometimes coincide with clipped planchets, where the blank metal was punched too near the edge of the strip. Large, well-shaped clips that echo the coin's curvature can command upwards of $150, especially if the clipping doesn't intrude on key design elements. Auction archives paint a vivid picture of market dynamics. In mid-2023, a pristine MS66 1974D double-die obverse hammered at $420 in a Chicago sale, drawing fierce competition from error coin specialists. Not long after, a Denver off-center specimen, approximately 50% off-center, certified MS64 sold for $380 at an online U.S. auction. These results underscore that collectors prize the drama of manufacturing mishaps as much as the longevity of a coin's design. Yet there's more to the 1974 dime story than errors. Anecdotes abound of hoarders squirreling away mint rolls during the coin shortage, then rediscovering them decades later. One California dealer unearthed 10 sealed bags of Denver dimes in his attic in 2018. Inside lay several SP, proof-like specimens, mistakenly rolled by a mint technician when transitioning from proof dies to circulation dies. Those proof-like 1974 D dimes, graded PL65 or higher, sold individually between $80 and $120. It's a reminder that sometimes human error at the mint can double your return. Collecting 1974 dimes isn't only about errors and rarity, though. Even standard circulation strikes reveal subtle value tiers. A well-worn dime graded G4 good might trade for 10 to 20 cents above face, prized mostly by type collectors filling binder slots. Jump to VF20, very fine, and you're looking at $1 or $2, as all major design elements remain clear. In AU58, about uncirculated, with minimal wear and strong luster, bidding can reach $5 to $8. True mint states, MS63 through MS65, showcase frosty surfaces and bagmark resistance, attracting premiums from $15 for MS63 to $40.60 for MS65. Eye appeal matters enormously. A coin that graduates to MS66 must exhibit gorgeous mint frost and minimal contact marks, qualities that often push values into the $1.10 or $1.50 bracket. Beyond that, populations plummet, and each incremental grade commands steeper premiums, often multiples of the previous level. Today, certified populations of MS67 1974 dimes number in the dozens, making any auction appearance a moment for collectors to circle their calendar. One quirky side note, some 1974 dimes display brilliant blue-green toning, a phenomenon caused by trace elements in the planchet reacting over decades of storage. When evenly distributed, these hues can elevate a dime from ordinary to covetable, adding 20 to 30% to its standard value. But beware spotty or streaky toning. Uneven coloration often repels buyers and risks details, grades from grading services. With the current resurgence in interest for 1970s coinage, market watchers anticipate continued appreciation. As baby boomer collectors of the 40 to 50 age bracket, people who first felt coins jingling in their pockets in the 70s, turn nostalgic, demand for well-preserved pieces has surged. Auction houses now regularly host dedicated sessions for error coins, and online forums buzz with activity when a notable 1974 specimen emerges. Whether your focus is snagging a dramatic off-center marvel or simply hunting for a clean MS-65 circulation strike, the 1974 Roosevelt dime offers a dynamic field. From double dies to clipped planchets, from proof-like surprises to natural toning, there's a thrill in every roll opened and every auction lot scanned. As you examine your own collection, take the time to study each rim and field. Imperfections are often the door to premium value. Next, we'll leap ahead to a coin born in the bicentennial fever of 1976, a dime that not only celebrates history, but also boasts its own roster of quirky minting tales and collector fervor. Stay sharp. Those 1976 dimes reward the keenest eyes. Transitioning from our exploration of the 1974 Roosevelt dime's intriguing anomalies, we arrive at a coin that literally celebrated America's milestone, the 1976 bicentennial Roosevelt dime. Minted to mark 200 years since the Declaration of Independence, this dime carries more than the familiar torch and oak branch reverse. It encapsulates a moment of national pride, and along with it, a suite of errors and rarities that seasoned collectors still chase nearly half a century later. In 1975 and 1976, the U.S. Mint struck bicentennial coinage bearing a dual date, 1776 to 1976, on the reverse, replacing the traditional wheat sheaf with a colonial torch framed by olive and oak branches. The dimes of this era were produced at Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, D., while a special proof run at San Francisco, S., delivered deeply mirrored surfaces and frosted devices. Although the mint struck more than 1 billion bicentennial dimes for general circulation, the compressed schedule and new reverse dies led to a handful of fascinating production hiccups that now command collector attention. One of the most sought-after varieties is the wide-rim bicentennial dime, where the planchet sat slightly differently under the die, producing a broader blank edge around the design. These wide rims are subtle, often only perceptible under magnification, but collectors prize them for their clear departure from the standard issue. Certified examples graded MS67 with this variation can fetch upwards of $150, whereas a standard MS67 might trade in the $30 to $50 range. Equally captivating are the clipped planchet errors from 1976. In the rush to strike millions of commemorative pieces, a few planchets were punched too close to the edge of the metal strip, resulting in crescent-shaped blanks. When struck, these blanks yield coins missing sizable portions of their rims. A well-formed clip that curves naturally, without intruding on Roosevelt's portrait or the bicentennial torch, can sell for $100 to $200, depending on the size of the clip and overall eye appeal. Collectors also covet off-center strikes on the 1976 dime. These range from minor misalignments, worth about $25 to $40, to dramatic offsets where nearly half the design is absent, driving prices into the $300 to $500 territory when certified. One spectacular example sold at auction in late 2023, a 1976 D-dime offset by some 60%, graded MS63, hammered for $525, complete with vivid red and gold toning that contrasted strikingly against the clipped side. But the crown jewel of the series is the elusive, proof-like circulation strike. While the San Francisco proof dimes carry the S mark and cameo contrast by design, a small number of Philadelphia and Denver strikes emerged with proof-like fields, highly reflective surfaces, and frosted devices not intended for general circulation. These PL65 to PL67 examples are exceedingly rare. Only a few dozen are believed to exist in collector hands. When one surfaces, it commands four figures. In March 2024, a PL67 1976 Philadelphia dime sold for $1,250, underscoring the premium collector's place on unexpected proof characteristics in circulation strikes. Auction results further highlight this passion. A matched set of 3 PL66 dimes, one each from Philly, Denver, and San Francisco rolls, realized $3,100 as a lot, driven by enthusiasts eager to secure a complete proof-like swing across mint marks. Meanwhile, a spectacular MS68 1976 S proof dime, graded PR68, deep cameo crossed the block for $280, proving that even standard commemorative proofs retain robust value when pristine. Stories from the hobby's front lines add color to these numbers. A New England librarian recounts discovering a clipped planchet 1976 dime loose in a coin sorter at her library's circulation desk, later selling it for $175 on an online auction after grading. Elsewhere, a Texas retiree found three proof-like dimes in a mixed bag of change. After authentication, they netted him $3,500, just enough to underwrite a long-dreamed coin show road trip the following spring. Beyond errors and proof likes, condition remains the bedrock of value. A circulated 1976 bicentennial dime in VF20 condition might trade for $1 or $2, while an AU58 can inch up to $5 to $8. Transitioning into mint state, an MS63 typically brings $12 to $15, MS65 about $25 to $30, and MS67, if superlative in strike and luster, can ascend to $75 or more. The jump from MS67 to MS68 is especially dramatic. Limited certified populations mean each incremental grade can double or triple the market price. Adding another layer to the story, some collectors chase spectacular natural toning on 1976 dimes. Hues of purple, blue, and gold that swirl across the torch and branches can transform a coin into a canvas of Americana. Even a modest ticker of oxidation, if evenly spread, may command a 10 to 15% premium over its untuned counterpart. However, harsh or uneven toning risks a detail's grade, so buyers proceed with careful scrutiny, often relying on high-resolution images and third-party certification. As the bicentennial series slips further into history, interest in its rarities shows no sign of waning. Baby boomer collectors, many of whom pocketed these commemorative dimes as children, now seek to recapture memories of the nation's 200th birthday. Online forums light up whenever a notable 1976 error appears, and dedicated auctions spotlight error coins from across the series, dimes, quarters, and half-dollars alike. Holding a 1976 Roosevelt dime today is more than a nod to numismatic variety. It's a chance to own a piece of Americana in miniature. Whether you're hunting a wide rim, pursuing clipped planchets, chasing off-center marvels, or simply cataloging the shine on a high-grade proof, the bicentennial dime offers layers of discovery. Keep your loupe close and your eyes sharp. This little torch-bearing emblem of independence still has secrets waiting to be uncovered.